I work primarily with
Green light.
education and compliance and
Maraming
driving
sasakyan
industry
ngayon.
awareness. More specifically for pure processing, they're an innovative manufacturing company for sterile processing and endoscope reprocessing technologies. The focus is on ergonomic solutions that support our SPD and GI teams, essentially in their effort to keep our patients safe. By collaborating with our customers and maintaining a deep understanding of the industry standards, Pure Processing has developed numerous solutions that truly are designed to meet the unique needs that come up with instrument and endoscope reprocessing.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Thank you for helping our industry. We always appreciate the support of Pure Processing. Today we're talking about quality management systems, and I'd like to start with a pretty basic question. What is quality management? What are quality management systems? And can you explain some of the key concepts that we want to know about?
Quality management systems actually have the tendency to be very complex. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about today is going to be very high level introductions. A lot of what I speak to is you're going to be able to
Today is July 23, 2025, Wednesday. It's 6:47 in the evening. Same damit pa rin yung suot ko. Inubad ko kasi ito eh. Tapos pag lalabas ako, gagamitin ko ulit. Talian mo. Tangin na. Nasa orange pa naman. Ayop kasi na to, bagal oh. Muntik pa akong Muntik pa akong ma-red ano yan? Reading the red light. Orange. Tapos balik na naman to, ayop na Mitsubishi Pajero to. Isa pa to, maglililiko, hindi hindi nagsisignal. Gumamit kayo ng signal light ninyo. Kahit pitik-pit ng mag-eskwela ng driving, tapos kayo mga style ninyo mag-drive eh. Alright, all the way going up.
Some of the key components that we find in our QMS systems or quality management systems can include clearly defined goals that can be written into policies and procedures, and then the result of that would be continued education, auditing, data tracking, additional stakeholder collaboration. And I think it's really important to understand that quality management system is not a one-man job. This really does come and require a working group, and that can be internal leaders and your technicians and educators, and it can expand out into ancillary departments like infection prevention, facilities, information technology, everyone who can have either an influence or an advocacy for the quality management system in place.
And so that's what you mean when you talk about cyclical. It may start in one part of the department and then
Episode 126.
And sort of go up the chain. Okay.
Magre-renew kasi ako nung
Can you discuss your experience with quality management
membership,
systems,
saka yung
the time that you used
parang
something in clinical practice or
renewal ng certificate ko sa
Yeah,
tayo
so I would
nakikinig
say
ng
my first real immersive exposure into QMS systems
ganyang,
was under
podcast.
a director who really championed quality management programs. A lot of our process improvement strategies were based on the results of a quality management system and really propelled us into being able to identify what's working well, what needs to be improved, and then what steps are required in order to make those necessary changes. And one of the things that we had kind of implemented that we found very successful was what we called a practice implementation method. And essentially what that did was we took our risk analysis or whatever it was that was driving this change, and after understanding, was there a purchase requirement, was there a training requirement, and getting kind of all the tangibles in place, we championed our trainers and our leaders by training them first. And essentially their role was to go out to the shifts and train to the practice. And during that time, we were doing a lot of transition work. So techs would maybe practice the new process for a while and then, and find their rhythm. And this time could take anywhere from a week to a month, maybe longer, depending on the impact of the process and how many technicians maybe even had to learn the new process. And it allowed our teams a space to kind of ask questions, practice and make mistakes before feeling that pressure of accountability to what is now the for that particular practice. And that really helped build our team's confidence, but also ensured that we got the right feedback so that we could make the necessary adjustments as we continued on through the processes.
That's great. So you talk about timelines when you're doing a quality management.
Ngayon, 10 minutes,
I assume that your timelines
9
have to be
minutes
flexible.
akong umaga.
You have to be able to expand or contract as
Ay,
things
pero
go
doon
along.
kanina, muntik pa akong
Yeah, and I think later on we
Beating the
talk
red
about
light, Visit
proactive
na yan.
versus reactive, and as proactive as you want to be, you do often have to set aside time and understanding that you're going to have reactive things that come into play that might alter your timelines, either expediting them or scaling them back a little bit.
Okay, great. What new tech do you see coming up that would be useful to departments wanting to develop a quality management system?
Some of the things that immediately come to mind, you can think about like borescopes or even like illumination devices. Specifically with borescopes, we're seeing an increased use in them. We're seeing increased use not only on pump and pop, but also when space and bandwidth allow, we're seeing it happen in decontamination. So your borescopes really allow you an opportunity to get into the unseen world of endoscope reprocessing or any lumen device really, and you're removing the guesswork. I guess this channel might be dry enough. I'm hoping that we did enough with the rinse cycle. Now you're able to kind of start really having that assurance that yes, this practice is doing exactly what we're expecting it to do, and that's just based on basic visualization. Borescopes, though, we're seeing now have like really great software integration, including like AI capabilities that actually help us determine what is the residual that we're seeing in this channel, and allowing us to kind of answer those unknown questions and give better assurance before we even transition that quote unquote output into a new input for another part of the process. Illumination is also evolving rapidly. I mean, if you've ever been in an OR as an SPD professional, you see the booms and you walk into the room, it's very well lit, and there's a lot of times that instrumentation is inspected in an OR room and may end up being rejected based on findings that have passed through sterile processing, and it's certainly not malicious and it's not intentful. It has everything to do with maybe the illumination that we're experiencing in SPD. Maybe we do need to enhance it, and so we've seen a lot of tools come into play. Lighted magnification has been there. Light hoods are becoming more and more popular in those areas, just to enhance the ambient lighting in the atmosphere, as well as even tabletop lights for better inspection for wraps or your instrumentation.
Rebel Patango, signing off.
Those are some of the newer technology that we're